continue reading Moore's Utopia with the introduction by Clarence Miller. Another remarkable feature of Hitler's style, which is related to the deceptive simplicity of Utopia, is his diction. We are not surprised that he is fond of words like equal or easy, which he uses about 25 times. After all, his main thesis is that equality of goods makes just government easy in Utopia. But another group of frequent words suggests his inability to deal with specific problems in concrete circumstances and reflects the universalist, absolute, all or nothing cast of his mind. Words like all, nothing, none, whole, one, the same, any, no one, and so forth are used more than 50 and even hundreds of times. There is no house. These are some of his statements. Farming is the one occupation in which all of them are skilled. Whoever seeks any office becomes ineligible for all offices. The island has 54 cities, all of them large and splendid, and having exactly the same language, customs, institutions, and laws. They have the same layout and they look the same insofar as the terrain allows. From them, each head of household goes to get whatever he and his household need and takes away whatever he wants, paying no money and giving absolutely nothing in exchange for it. For why should he be denied anything, since there is plenty of everything, and no one need fear that anyone would want to ask for more than he needs? For why would anyone be suspected of asking for too much, if he is certain he will never lack for anything? On the other hand, here, where everything belongs to everyone, no one doubts that nothing whatever will be lacking to anyone for his own use. For the distribution of goods is not niggardly. No one is a pauper or a beggar there. And though no one has anything, all are rich. That kind of reminds me of a Bible verse. Well, we know there's certain types of people who like to have everything at the expense of everyone. But his utopia is not niggardly in that way. For no one is a pauper or beggar. So they're talking more about his dictions. How do you get everyone always to do the same one thing everywhere, wholly and completely, without anyone anywhere at all deviating significantly in anything, with no exceptions, with no one ever wishing to contravene the universal system, with all in equal conformity, with never a dissenting voice, with nowhere a refusal to comply? H's answer is one and the same always. Introduce utopian institutions based on the sharing of everything. Only then will everyone be totally and completely committed to the common good. But only a people raised, educated, and trained under utopian institutions can make the institutions work. So we're back to the paradox, the dilemma, the double bind. Nowhere can such institutions be introduced except where they have already been introduced, nowhere. Yeah, it's a very theoretical concept actually, but it is not without. Like I said, it's based on natural law, so it is possible, and it is possible. Some places that are away from the matrix, possibly, maybe. But H should not be viewed as merely narrow-minded, solipsistic, and naive. When he condemns the injustices of Europe, his voice and his sentences are not incompatible with those of More himself. His passionate denunciations of the greedy oppression of the poor and his compassionate indignation at the lazy, corrupt self-indulgence of the rich are intense and memorable. Yeah, this reminds me of the MGTOWs and the feminists. The lazy, corrupt self-indulgence of the feminist rich and the greedy oppression of the poor brothers, young man, are intense and memorable. Everyone remembers the sheep who were once gentle but now devour people, or his thunderous peroration against economic and social injustice, culminating in the condemnation of the conspiracy of the rich, who look out for themselves under the pretext of serving the Commonwealth. Only when he flees such corruption and breaks through to the simplicities of Utopia do his sentences fracture Latin syntax and soar beyond what more Latin would attempt. But these simple sentences and universal diction in his description of Utopia do not make him seem merely simple-minded. They also help him to make us think that this has happened, that it could happen, in spite of doubts, and even more so, he makes us think that some of it should happen, because the utopians really believe in the common good, and H makes us almost believe in their belief, and so we believe him, even while we disbelieve him. More about the language, because this is a translation from Latin, I guess. And then there's a chronology of More's life. He was born in London in February 7th, 1477. He went to St. Anthony's School, Oxford University, and studied law. Haha, so he's a Farsi too. He's one of those clever practitioners of the language. And then was in a monastery for 4 years, and then finally married. Damn, that's a long life, man. He was beheaded on July 6th, 1535. And knighted at 1521. And enjoyed a lot of high positions until he was imprisoned and then convicted and then beheaded. I hope I don't get beheaded by these Jezebels after being knighted and given leadership positions. Oh, he accompanied Henry VIII in 1520, smoking that good shit at the Field of Cloth of Gold near Calais. Yeah, this book is pretty. This book is a truly precious book, no less profitable than delightful, by the most distinguished and learned gentleman, Thomas More, citizen and under-sheriff of the illustrious city of London. A 6-line stanza on the island of Utopia by the poet laureate Anemolius, the son of Hitler's sister. Called once no place because I stood apart. Now I compete with Plato's state, perhaps surpass it. What he only wrote about, I have alone in fact become. The best in people, wealth, in laws, by far the best. Good place, by rights I should be called. The son of H's sister. An Anemolius. Sounds like anonymous. Talking about the island of Utopia. So this is a 6-line stanza. In Japanese they have haiku. In Kashmir there was a poet who used to have these things called shruks. And that was 4 to 6 line stanzas. So this is also technically a shrook. Called once no place because I stood apart. Now I compete with Plato's state. Perhaps surpass it. What he only wrote about, I have alone in fact become the best. In people, wealth, in laws, by far the best. Good place, by rights I should be called. Alright, that's Utopia. Introduction.